You know who really pissed me off the other day? Howard Stern. I was listening to Howard Stern.
He's like your boy, dude.
He was my boy. But like there's been a long period of time where I completely stopped listening to him.
You would mow your lawn and listen to this motherfucker,
No, I would listen
right?
to the whole show. I'd download them with the commercials cut out.
Yeah.
And then I'd listen to him from the first second he started talking till when the end music ended. Like 4 hours every single day since I was like a young kid.
Really?
Yeah. And then it got to a point where I just felt like this guy's turned into just a money-hungry, like, grubbing kind of guy. You know, like, that's all he cares about. Like, he doesn't care about anything but money. He doesn't care about his listeners. And that was about, like, 3 years ago. I stopped listening completely. And then I got back into it recently because I got serious again. And I'm kind of feeling the same way about him. And then he had a caller call in and ask him what he thought about podcasts.
Right.
And here, I got some clips to play here.
Are we allowed to play these clips?
Yeah, I don't see why not. He plays clips from other shows.
Right. I know you put down podcasts in the past, but is your opinion starting to change on them?
No, it's stupid.
Oh, really?
It's a waste of time. You want it? Listen, if you want to be a broadcaster, listen to me.
I'm listening.
If you want to be a broadcaster and you want to make a living at this, you know, unless you want to make, 30 cents because your 3 subscribers are going to, or somehow you're going to get a pass-through from Amazon and get a penny for every time one of your listeners clicks, you fucking loser. Oh. Go out and get a job in broadcasting. And when I say a job, I don't even mean it's satellite radio.
See, I don't think the guy gets it anymore because he's telling you to go get a job in broadcasting. The whole beauty of what's going on right now in the world
away from all that
is that whole top-down structure is dead, okay?
Right.
But what Howard's done, somehow he's figured out, like when he got out of radio, Sirius was kind of like they needed somebody to do, because they were going bankrupt. They needed a guy to come in. He brought some listeners over, and somehow he finagled this crazy contract. Like he's probably worth like $500 million to $1 billion at this point. So he's somehow convinced him that they need him, which he did help him out in the beginning. But I don't think the guy's getting the kind of listeners he's claiming to get. He's like, I hear him all the time. Like, there's 30 million listeners on satellite. And he acts like he gets all of them. But you have satellite radio, right?
I do.
You never listen to the guy.
No, I don't.
Most of the people I know who have satellite radio don't listen to the guy.
So who the fuck is listening to him?
I don't know, because when I searched him online, like here's what I saw too. Like all his shows every single day are on YouTube now. Like there's some guy that cuts out the commercials and throws them up at the end of the day.
That's crazy, isn't it?
But like the guy's getting like per show like maybe 18,000 listens.
That's it?
Yeah.
So no one cares about him anymore.
No one gives a fuck about Stern anymore.
Yeah, that's basically what it is.
So I think he's realizing
look at Ellen's show. Look at Ellen's show.
Oh, look at Joe Rogan. You pull up Joe Rogan
downloads
podcast.
One day, dude. 500,000 views one day if Channing Tatum comes on, right?
Yeah.
And it's only like a 6-minute bit, right? Or the guy, 50 Shades of Grey guy comes on, 700,000 views one day.
Right.
Ellen, who has like 7 million subscribers, 7 mil.
So let me pull up Joe Rogan's podcast, right? Episode 606, which is a recent one. 190,000 views. Episode 611, 98,000 views. Episode 583, 245,000 views. Episode 598, 211,000 views. You get the point. Here, let me pull up a Howard Stern show on YouTube. And here's the guy that always is ripping off Howard Stern shows.
Right.
Full show for February 18th, 4,000 views. Okay? Full show for February 3rd, 34,000 views.
Of Stern?
Yeah. 36,000 on January 20.
He's fading.
7,000. Nobody listens to this fucking guy. He somehow convinced Sirius that people give a shit about him. And he's such a money-hungry guy, this guy, right? He's going to hang around forever until nobody gives a shit for sure, and people figure out his little fucking scam he's running. Because the guy, right? And I always hear him talking about it. He gets pissed off when like he finds like bands that are not together. They're like, why would they quit? They can just tour forever and then get some money. He's got that mentality. Like
it's
if
like
you
an
can
older
get
mentality, it
right.
seems like.
Because he's got this giant nut he's got to pay every month, right? The guy has like $50 million properties. He's got some in like Florida. He's got shit in New York. He's got this enormous monthly nut, probably in the few $100,000 that he's got to pay.
Yeah.
And he's got that bimbo wife of his, right?
Right.
He divorced the ugly one early on. Like, I can just imagine what was going on with Stern when he had that ugly wife in the beginning. He's super rich and famous. He would just sit in his basement all day because he probably didn't want to be seen in public with her. Now he's got this wife, doesn't know what to do with her, gives her like a little doggy business. She's always out there trying to save dogs all the time. I can just imagine what was going through his mind when he married her.
So this is not your homeboy anymore.
No, he's pissing me off with this podcast shit. I'm done with him. Listen, here, let me play some more of what he says.
The only reason I get paid is because I was on terrestrial radio and I had a following. If you want to be in radio, forget a podcast.
But
Podcast is for losers. You understand?
Do you think this is time marching beyond you?
No. Let me take.
And let me point out what's going on
Thank
here.
you,
If
Robin,
you listen, no,
right?
not just Robin, everybody, and you can
Jeez.
tell, like, even his crew at this point is like, what the fuck are you talking about? But I'll tell you what's going on.
I think I know what it is.
Stern is scared of podcasting, and that's a threat to him because he's probably got some kind of CEOs or some kind of person at that company that's telling him, hey, why the fuck do we still got to pay you? We don't have to pay you shit. There's all these podcasts out there that are doing it for free, right? And if you think about it, the internet's the future, not satellite radio. They got to relaunch these satellites every few years that cost hundreds of millions of dollars. What kind of fucking infrastructure is that? I got a cell phone now, and if I want to listen to shit, it's free. People don't pay for that shit. You want Sirius for free? Just call them up and cancel. They'll cut you to half of what you're paying. If you got Sirius, any of our listeners got Sirius, just call them and say, you don't want Stern, you don't want Sirius, fuck you. And some guy in fucking Indonesia will tell you, or Singapore, where the fuck these people they call. And Sirius has the worst, like, automated system where it's
mean?
supposed to hear your voice. It's ridiculous.
I
They
don't
never
call Sirius.
upgraded.
Oh, that's not true. I call
Voice
them only when they
recognition.
send me a crazy bill, and I'm like, fuck you.
Yeah, when your bill renews,
I don't need it.
You call and cancel and say,
Yeah,
fuck you, I don't want this
need
shit.
it. Well, what about the 60 channels that you... Oh, they're like, how many channels do you listen to? I was like, about 10. And I was like, but I need to cancel. It's not worth it. And she goes, well, what are you going to do about those 10 channels? I'm like, what? It's like, I
Yeah.
won't listen to them.
Right.
She's like, I'll cut you a better deal.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
That's
like,
all-
really? And she goes, it'll be this. And I'm like, deal's not good enough. I'm out. And she goes, hold on. Let me go to my superior. And the hold on part was like 3 seconds. Okay. Just got back from the superior. We can give you this deal.
Oh, yeah. It's always I'll see how far I can go, too.
fuck?
I'll see how far I can go. Usually their
3
first
seconds.
deal...
There was no one there. There's no one above her.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
No, because the way they pay these people...
So funny.
It's like, how many people can you retain? They have, like, bonuses, I think. It's
I
usually how it
guess.
works.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Right.
So, like,
Right.
they're going to jump... If they know you're done with them, they'll jump right to that thing because they want to
Right.
retain you. Because if they don't
Exactly.
retain you, they probably get a mark.
Right. Oh, they're probably on the like chopping block. Like,
But
if you
they're on
get a
their-
certain amount of
oh,
marks,
yeah.
like you're out of here. Like,
They're-
and the people that are helping you out, they don't fucking even know what Sirius is, dude.
Right. There's
I
some guy in
guarantee you they don't know.
Indonesia.
They have fucking no clue.
It's probably the one call they get. It's like Comcast. The second one is Sirius. Like
Yeah.
they're probably like vendors for like 10 different companies.
Right. Oh yeah, you're right.
But you can just tell it's an old business model, and he's afraid of podcasting. That's all it is. Listen,
That's okay, but he could also be trying to do what he did to get famous in the first place, which is piss people off, so people keep talking about him.
oh no,
You
he's
gotta be careful with that, man.
he's not trendy anymore. The guy's
not
just
about being
sitting-
trendy.
It's
It's
not
about
even
being
trendy.
smart.
No, he's completely turned off his regular audience.
It's
'cause-
no different than Kanye making some fucking weird statement or like pulling the fucking Grammy from someone's hand. Oh, you should go to Beyonce. It's no different, right? It keeps him in the news, but it's negative, but he's in the news. That's what I'm trying to tell you, man.
no, what happened
I think
here?
Kanye is getting faded out.
Yeah.
No one, who the fuck listens to Kanye? I mean, honestly, but
But check out Robin, how she gets annoyed with him.
The only reason I get paid is because I was on terrestrial radio and I had a following. If you want to be in radio, forget a podcast.
But
Podcast is for losers. You understand?
Do you think this is time marching beyond you?
No.
And,
Let me
and
tell you, if
you're
I
not-
went and got a podcast, it'd be a different story. I could.
No, it wouldn't. It'd be the same fucking story. You'd have to give it away for free and figure out how to sell ads or some kind of business revenue you wouldn't have fucking Sirius floating you like they do now.
Charge for my podcast to make a living on it. Most people get a podcast. You know why? They can't get a job on a regular radio station.
What are you going to get? The 13,000
fucking-
people looking at your YouTube videos? Because you know if somebody's getting shit for free, they're not going to pay for it.
In his defense, there are radio stations out there that have dedicated social media people and everything, and they're very much alive. Like the host,
Dizzle, this
JB
used to-
Sandy, Rule Orion show
Yeah.
in Houston. Big fucking shows, man. Big productions
Yeah.
that have huge Facebook followings. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Constantly posting news saying, how do you think about this person being this color and he ran into a person of this color and who should pay for the bumper? And it's such a fucking thing that's going to bring a heated debate. But the thing is, everyone's commenting.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to tell you that he might be playing people. I always look at things from two sides. Or he could just be completely out of tune.
He's out of...
And that's what you're thinking. I think you're bringing the emotion part
don't
of it
think he's
because
out
you
of touch.
dedicated so much time to this guy and he was your idol, and now you're like getting kind of like it gets very obvious. Like you're worked up about this guy because you spent a lot of your time listening to him. You looked up to him.
I did look up to him. I have his picture
He was
hanging
your
in my
hero,
office.
dude.
So it's
He
like
was your
I have his
hero.
picture. I have his Rolling Stone covers framed, hanging up in my office.
It's like someone you trust, like touching your wiener, dude.
This is a guy that's
It's like, why'd you touch my wiener?
he paved the way for everybody. Okay, and I absolutely respect that. But I feel like what he's doing now, he just wants to maintain this lifestyle, and he feels like he doesn't give a shit. Because this guy came from nothing in Hartford, right? He was working in Detroit at some shitty radio station, and like he worked his way up from nothing. But he doesn't seem to recognize that there's other people out there that are doing it now, and this whole medium is being democratized. So instead of just one Howard Stern pulling in $100 million a year, sure, nobody's listening to podcasts, but there's enough people that'll listen to where some podcasters can make a living doing what they love, right? They can make $100 grand, $200 grand, $1 million. There's podcasters making millions of bucks.
Maybe he doesn't fathom the fact that life rich to someone or living a life doesn't necessarily mean having a lot of cash.
Oh, he's living.
If you have $100 grand on a podcast, like if you make $100 grand for your podcast, I'd say that's a pretty successful podcast
right,
already.
and you're happy, and you're
happy.
able to change
Leave your job, and
Right.
here you are.
But this guy's at this point,
Yeah.
he's like A-list Hollywood buddies, right? So he's hanging out with George Clooney. He's hanging out with Brad Pitt's ex-wife, right? So he's living that lifestyle,
Right.
and that to him, that's what success is now. It's not a guy in his basement that can pay his bills off of a podcast.
He's not humble anymore. He
Oh,
forgot
he's-
where he came from, and he doesn't realize that there are other ways to bring. And the craziest part about what we're doing is nothing governs this. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Like the best thing that can happen for us is that we get discovered on YouTube and someone wants to buy our shit and go, we want to syndicate you. Like this is good. We want to own your channel. How do we do this?
Right.
I mean, that could be a really promising thing. Like, keep doing what you're doing. We'll take care of everything in the end. We'll take care of the fucking social media. We'll take care of all this. Just do your show. But we own 40% of you.
Right.
Just do it, and
Right.
we'll get everything done. And that would be amazing. That's probably what.
Which is basically what he's doing with
Right.
Sirius.
But I mean, yeah, exactly. I just think it's gonna be different with YouTube. YouTube is more grassroots. It's more you make the call. It's more everyone fucking discovers everybody that puts an effort. I honestly say if you put a hard effort into anything on YouTube, you will get discovered by something at some day, at some time. You
Right.
will. Absolutely. Frankie got discovered by a news channel. Just random things, right? But what happens with YouTube is once you hit 10,000 subscribers, you can make your channel paid,
Right.
which is $4 a month for any subscriber who wants to pay.
Minimum. Or
That's it.
can you charge 50 cents a month?
No, it's $4.
Can you charge 20?
As far
Or
as
is
I
it-
know, I think it's $4. I could be completely wrong,
Really?
but the last
So
I
you
heard-
can't set the amount you want to charge?
No, but listen to me. Like if it's $4, right? You just take. It's no different than a cable company.
But I'm
now.
saying even if what if you want to
Except
make it
you
a
make
dollar?
your own-
What if you want to make it a
I
dollar?
don't think you can. The last I heard, I think it's $4 because
Is it?
it's a certain cut for everybody.
Okay, I see.
But then think about it, right? You get 1 million listeners, right? And then all of a sudden you go paid. Well, let's say you go paid at 10,000 subscribers,
Right.
and they're like, all right, he's paid fucking $4 a month for me to pass time
Right.
before I pass away, and I'll laugh. I'm guaranteed to laugh. And at that point, if we're going paid, we'll probably do 2 shows a week,
Yeah.
Then think about it. You don't need many to start living pretty good every month.
Right.
Every month,
Right.
right? And then every year comes along, it's like every month plus every month plus every month, and you're like, shit's fucking taking off. And then you get a Google AdSense check,
But that's what the future is. That's everybody's
future.
able
It's happening
to
now.
make their own way and live
Right.
a lifestyle doing what they like to do, and you can like narrowcast to like a certain audience.
Yeah.
But I know this man knows it's a threat, and that's why he's saying this. Here, he keeps going.
Now, if you really want to be in radio, you got to go out in the ratings world and earn an audience and prove yourself to the powerful people who pay. And it's
you don't think the model is changing or shifting? at all?
No.
Okay.
Of course not. Nothing changes about that.
Yes, it does. I don't have to prove shit to anybody. I go straight to my audience. That's it.
You want to be a winner? Go to a small radio station.
Yeah, they're going to fucking hire me.
WRNW, like that. And you go, and you make no money, and you begin to develop a craft. And then if you get good enough...
I got a fucking family, Howard. I'm not some kind of millionaire living on the 80th floor of some skyscraper in New York with $50 million homes in Florida getting chauffeured around. Okay, I got to feed my kids. I got to work a full-time job. And then I work for nothing here trying to do my dream. And you're shitting on it.
Then you get an audience that you earn. And then when you have an audience and what?
Don't you think podcasting is a way to develop that?
No.
Practice?
No.
Why isn't it?
It's make-believe.
No. All those other voices around him
Yeah.
are making a lot of sense. But Howard isn't.
Podcast. Fuck you.
That's like an easy way out,
Podcast.
dude.
Don't even get me started. I hear these podcasts. You could go hang yourself. These people have no concept.
He sounds threatened by podcasts.
Oh, yeah. But he's right. He's probably listening to the thousands and thousands of podcasts. Everybody's doing a fucking podcast now.
Right.
Right? So what he's talking about, like go make a name for yourself, those are those 100,000 podcasts. And maybe 1/2, 1/10, 1% will make it. Right? And they'll get an audience. People will find them and they'll blow up and they'll be able to make a living off of it. And he's threatened by that. You can just tell.
So just let
That
him
they're
fucking
boring
be.
everyone. They're bores. They're bores who are sitting in their living room looking to bore other people.
Dude,
I got to agree
honestly,
with him on that on some of these podcasts.
Dude, honestly, a majority of podcasts that I've listened to in the comedy section are pretty boring.
Oh, yeah. They're horrible.
So I get what he's saying. I just think ours is better. I don't even think. I know ours is better.
Yeah.
Because I find myself going back to my own show. That's fucking dumb.
Right.
Like listening to my own shit.
No,
Like-
I think you should, though. If you
Well,
want
I
to get
know,
better,
but-
you got to listen to your own shit.
Okay, I understand where you're coming from, but when I did the Bonafide Hustler channel, I don't look at my videos anymore. Like, I look at my weekly videos, and then videos from a year ago, I don't look at them anymore. I just don't. Because I'm too focused on what we're doing right now, moving ahead
Right.
and getting shit done, right?
Right.
But anyway, our show is just better. Have you listened to it, Paul Conda?
Oh yeah, I listen
In a
to it.
van
Yeah.
with CMFK?
I
Yeah.
never have.
Do you ever laugh?
No.
Oh yeah, I laugh.
See?
Yeah.
And this is a guy with
People-
the biggest schlong in the world.
But Paul Conda has probably really low expectations for laughing. Like, what's some comedy shit you listen to, Paul Conda?
Who's your favorite comedian?
Probably Ron White and
I don't know
Rodney
who that is.
Carrington.
And who?
Rodney Carrington.
Okay.
Rodney Carrington.
Ron White's
That's
kind of
my
funny,
Texas
but he's like
boy.
always drunk when he talks, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. I know
Rodney
who he
Carrington like sings those like
Yeah.
songs, right?
yeah. He's from near my hometown.
Okay.
People who take the easy way to a podcast, it's not even, you know,
Does he think everybody there's just jobs waiting at radio stations for people?
Why does he care so much about this?
Does he think just everybody can run out to a radio station and start broadcasting? You know the kind of shitheads that work at these radio stations? I tried to get a show when I was at the University of Texas.
Right.
And this horribly untalented guy that was the program director, some big fat guy with a beard, right, would force me on the internet side. Like, this is back when nobody used the internet. And I was like streaming to nobody. But he wouldn't let me talk. He's like, you got to play records. So I would just and I didn't listen to the kind of music. Like, it was like hipster music.
Right.
You know? So I would just grab random records and play them. And then I try to throw in a funny, like, quick saying between songs.
Yeah.
And he'd hear it. And he'd come, yo, you can't do that, man. You got to just play records. Oh, I think the only person that ever heard me on that, one time I had my dad log in to, like, Real Player or something.
Yeah.
It was a big convoluted process to find this show. He's like, oh, he was all happy. He's like, yeah, we heard you over here in Houston.
Oh my gosh.
Nobody was listening to that shit. But does Stern think that you just go out there and any radio station will hire you
Yeah.
and you work for nothing?
Right.
It's nothing. It's nothing.
That's old news, dude.
But wouldn't you say
nothing?
the same people that at radio stations want a demo tape, right? So if you have recorded podcasts,
It's irrelevant.
No, it's not.
You can't learn anything from a podcast.
You
Even
learn-
if
No.
you set it up like a radio show.
That was dumb.
That's right. You'll learn nothing.
Okay.
You wanted to know the truth? I'm giving it to you. Now, I know no one
Even
wants
Robin.
to believe this.
I love Robin.
But, I mean, there is something to be said for practicing, Howard.
yeah.
It's not real practice.
How is that not real practice? It is great practice. Howard always talks about the 10,000 hour rule, right? You know what that is? Like
No.
anything you do, if you
Oh,
do it
yeah,
for
yeah,
10,000
yeah.
hours, you become an expert.
Right.
How is that any different than what he always preaches? You do 10,000 hours of podcast
Right.
and you become a masterful at it.
Like start getting camera angles and shit.
Right.
Start
Or you just flow. You know how to talk.
Right.
You're not saying like, you're not saying you know, you're making some kind of sense on there and you're interesting to people. You're not a big bore.
My guess is he might be just trying to stir people up, just to get more like people looking at him and his YouTube channel, for example.
Got
Maybe.
Dizzle stirred up.
Yep.
Well, I don't.
They got you,
I
dude.
think I'm the only guy stirred up.
You might be. You're the only person that still cares about him.
But how is he getting 14,000 listens on his little YouTube show?
But that's nothing in YouTube land now these days.
Right. And Joe
That's really
Rogan throws a podcast on there, 300,000 listens.
Because Joe Rogan has a podcast that he believed in. He doesn't give a fuck what anybody else thinks.
And I'm not saying Howard has a bad show anymore. He's still got a good show.
I don't think
It's
he
just
should
different.
shit on. He shouldn't shit on these things that are basically just evolutions of what.
And I'm
he
not
did.
shitting on Howard because he does have a great show still. It's just completely different. It's completely PC. He's gone politically correct. And it's him trying to live his little dream of being an interviewer. Because he always talks about like, oh, yeah, well, there was this, I forget the name, if it was CBS or NBC. Somebody was like pitching him to be doing kind of like a 60 Minutes type interviewing show.
Right.
Like Barbara Walters type.
Right.
And I think that this is his way of saying,
I can do that.
thumbing it to him. Like, yeah, look, I'm the greatest interview out there. But all he talks about is Saturday Night Live. And like he has people from Saturday Night Live on there. And this guy, all he cares about is how much money do people make. That's the first question he asks. The moment somebody wants to know about his finances, he shuts up real quick. And he tries to change the subject. He's real quiet on his money and how much he's worth. But we know you're living out there in $50 million mansions, multiple ones. Okay? So stop. It's kind of rude. Stop asking people how much they make. It's nobody gives a shit about that anymore.
You don't think people can make a living doing it?
No. They all lie.
That's
Well, what about like Adam Carolla?
I could make a living. Adam, listen, I love Adam. Adam's my
or
man.
Mark Maron.
But if Adam could get on regular radio, he'd do it in a minute.
As far as I know, Adam Carolla was on regular radio and he quit it to do his own thing. And he's doing great. Actually, our guest today, Robert Padler Lewis, was supposed to be on the show, but he's doing real good. He's actually going to be on Adam Carolla's podcast, so he's coming on next week. But anyway, we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back after this messages. I'm coming after you, Howard. I'm going to get more views than you on YouTube. Watch.